Okay, so now that we've got all of the paperwork out of the way, would you like to tell me what brought you in today?
My parents brought me here today.
Okay.
I don't really want to be here, but they made me come.
Okay. Is there anything specific that they were having issues with that they felt you needed to come in today?
Well, I don't get along well with my brothers. They just get on my nerves, and I'd rather not deal with them.
I understand that.
My parents aggravate me to get up and get ready for school when I just want to stay in bed all the time. I don't want to go to sleep, or I don't want to go to school. I want to sleep, and I even get at least 12 hours of sleep a night, but I still just want to stay in bed. I never feel like I get enough sleep. And I hate school because I don't get along with any of the kids anymore. They've just gotten to be really mean to me, and they pick on me all the time. And
Oh, that's really hard.
even my teacher is awful. I don't know what her problem is with me, but she makes me not even want to go to school. And she teaches my favorite subjects, science and math.
Yeah.
I loved those classes, and now I dread going every day.
Yeah.
I'm just so angry all the time, and I don't know how to cope with it.
Well, I can see how hard that would be, and I appreciate you opening up about all of that. I know that's hard to do too. How have you managed this so far?
My anger.
All of it.
Well, I'm not very good at controlling my anger. I have outbursts sometimes, like when I was in class, I was talking over top of the teacher, and I was talking to my friend, well, he's not really my friend, but he's one that I can actually tolerate most of the time. But anyway, I got in trouble for talking, and she threatened to send me to the principal's office, so I just flipped out. I started yelling at her, and I got sent to the principal's office anyway.
Okay. And what have you been doing again to manage this from getting any worse, or just to cope with it in the meantime?
Well, I have been, like, at home, when I'm at home, and my brothers are aggravating me and just trying to make me mad. I found it to be helpful to just lock myself up in my room and to get away from everything.
Be a little solitary and get some alone time. So alone time's been helping you.
Yeah. I'll even turn on some music and put my headphones on so I can't hear any pounding on the doors like they do to aggravate me, and so I can't hear my parents screaming at me.
Well, I think it's really great that you're already doing some things on your own before you've even came in here, because those are some things that I would have suggested. You know, if things are bothering you to a point that you feel like you're going to say something hurtful or do something that might get you in trouble, that's a really good thing to do. So I give you recognition of how well you're doing so far.
Thank you.
And encourage you to do more of that. Have you done anything to prevent it from getting worse, or just the maintaining it the way it is now?
I've just maintained it. I mean, I honestly don't see how it can get any worse.
Okay. So, I'm going to do a little thing with you. It's a miracle question. And I'm going to basically ask you to imagine that tonight as you sleep, a miracle occurs in your life. A magical moment is happening that has completely solved your problems, and perhaps even rippled over into covering and like maybe greatly improving other areas that seem to be problems for you in your life right now. And I want you to think for a moment and tell me, how is life going to be different now? What's the first thing you notice as you wake up? And you can take your time and think on that.
Well, I'll wake up feeling like I got a decent amount of rest, and I don't feel like I'm tired, and I'll actually want to go to school because I'll enjoy school. I'll have friends who actually want to do things with me, and I would join the basketball team again. I would be on the basketball team because I used to play basketball.
Okay.
I have such a bad temper that I don't even get to play anymore because I got in a fight in the middle of a game once.
I can see the excitement that you get when you talk about basketball and math and science. I mean, you just seem to light up like those are really important things to you.
I really used to enjoy them a lot, but now I've gotten so angry and I don't want to do anything at all. But if I was to wake up and all of my problems would be gone, then I would say that I would be on the basketball team again. I would enjoy school. Maybe I'd even have a different teacher. I know that's not realistic, but...
Well, you should have a new teacher next year, so that's something to look forward to.
That's
There's always
true.
some positivity in the negatives. We can always look for the good things that can come. It just
Yeah.
might be a little bit of time and a little bit of wait, but there's always good things to come. And
Yeah.
we just have to look for those
The good thing
through all the
is
hard times.
the year's almost over, so
Yeah, see? There you are. You're already finding
a little
positivity
bit
in that.
closer.
Yeah.
And let's see. I would be able to get along more with my siblings.
Yeah.
I don't like that we argue all the time. And even with my parents, I don't enjoy arguing. It's just like I can't help it. But if everything was working out the way that I would want them to work out, then I would have an amazing relationship with my parents, with my siblings. I would have.
I'm going to interrupt you here for a second. How do you think you could work toward having that amazing relationship with your parents? Is there a thing that you can think of that you could plan to work toward to help that happen?
With my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could probably maybe talk to them more.
That'd be a good way to do it. Talk to them more
Yeah.
and
Because I basically just avoid them
yeah.
most of the time.
So the getting alone time is good for you, but you're realizing that you probably need to, be a little involved with your parents and
Yeah, I would like to talk to them, be able to talk to them without getting angry and automatically starting an argument.
Yeah. Do you guys ever take time to maybe have dinner together? Are you guys able to do that? Or watch a movie? Do you guys ever do anything like that? Or do you usually choose to sit out of it?
I haven't sat and watched a movie or sat at the dinner table with them in a long time. Now, that's something that they still do, but I do choose to just avoid it all because,
So,
yeah.
Maybe we could try to start doing that a little bit more, and then I'm sure conversations will happen over those dinners.
Yeah.
So, and that would help you to get a little bit of bond back with your parents again. And your siblings, because they obviously seem to want time with you too.
Yeah, they sure aggravate me.
Okay, so I'm going to do some scaling questions with you. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think that you're managing this so far?
So far, I would say at about a 7.
Okay. What can you think of that we could do to take this from a 7 to an 8?
Maybe join the basketball team next year.
Okay. So get back into some extracurricular activities, and maybe that'll help you. I know you're having problems sleeping, but 12 hours is a long time to sleep. So maybe you need to be a little more active through the day, and then you'll sleep better. You'll have a more recuperative sleep and wake up a little more refreshed. And anytime you do activities, it helps bring you out of that feeling depressed and wanting to be alone all the time, and it'll get you back out there socially and help you to,
Yeah.
build some more friendships, and it always helps self-esteem, things like that. It'll improve areas of your life.
Yeah.
So getting back on the basketball team. So that would help us go from a 7 to an 8. What do you think we could do to go from an 8 to a 9?
Maybe I could start following the rules in class and not get sent to the principal's office
Okay.
as
Yeah.
much.
That might help you in your classes with the math and science teacher, where she's been calling you down and sending you to the office. And maybe you might start liking those classes again. The teacher might have a different reaction if she sees that you're making an effort to be engaged during class.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would help take us from an 8 to a 9. What do you think we could do to go from a 9 to a 10?
I would say maybe learn how to ignore all the negative things that kids at school say to me, all the negative things that my siblings even say to me,
Yeah.
just to irritate me.
Yeah.
Maybe even learn to ignore, well, not ignore my parents, but learn how to not get so angry with them.
Yeah. So basically, kind of develop a thicker skin to insults and criticism.
To
And
not
just-
react.
Yeah.
Right.
To not react. Of course, you're going to take it in. You're going to hear it. You're not always going to like it, and that's normal for anyone. But it's your reactions to it that seem to cause problems. So maybe no reaction as best you can and as often as you can. So I think those are 3 great ways to do that. I remember earlier with you talking about some of the negatives. I'm sure that you have some positives in your life that we could focus on and think about. Do you have some positive things in your life that you maybe want to bring about and create more of?
I do. I mean, just because I argue with my parents a lot doesn't mean that I don't love them, and they are a positive in my life.
And maybe talking to them and telling them that. I'm sure your parents would love to hear that, because not a lot of children voice that with their parents, and the parents feel a disconnect or they miss you because as you grow older and when you hit the teenage years, you kind of drift off and do your own thing. And I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
So it's great that you recognize and acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Are there any other positives we can focus on?
Well, my siblings, even though they drive me crazy, I will always love them. And I remember back when we used to be able to spend time together and not, and we would get along, not argue as much, and I actually enjoyed that time with them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a positive.
And that's another thing that you can focus on and try to do more of, is playing with them and spending time with them and just getting that bond back together from where you've been kind of alienating yourself for so long, being a little solitary.
I also think that basketball is a huge positive in my life. Even though I'm not on the team anymore, I still practice at home because
That's
my
good.
dad bought me a basketball rim
Mhm.
for the driveway,
Yeah.
and I'll go out and that's another way I blow off steam.
Yeah.
It's just, even though I'm playing alone, I still get to play the sport that I love,
Yeah.
and I don't have to be violent or get into fights with anybody because I'm out there by myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a stress reliever. And I think that if I do get back on the team, it'll help me.
I agree. I think so too. I think you've been being solitary and needing the me time, but I also think from what you've said, it seems like where you've been so solitary and you're sleeping so much and you've kind of distanced yourself from the people in your life, that it's also kept you from having some of the positives in your life that you have, that you haven't been really
I've
doing much
kind
of.
pushed them all aside. I've put them all on the back burner just because I'm angry with life.
So I think it'd be great to reconnect with the positives in your life and focus on those. And
yeah, I do think that I need to. I want to learn how to manage my anger better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to flip out and get kicked off the basketball team. I don't want to get into fights because of other players. I'm sure you've watched basketball games before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen how the opposing team will do things and say things just to irritate the other
Mm-hmm.
team and to get them to mess up. Well, that really makes me mad.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time dealing with that. And I want to be able to control that.
What's one way that you can think of that you can control that? Would you say that, developing the thicker skin that you was talking about in class with your teachers and the students, do you think you could try to apply some of that there, like you said, and ignore some of their comments? Are you able to do that if you, on the spot when that moment happens, to try to, think for a moment first and just not react like you said earlier?
I think it's going to take a lot of practice.
Of course, yeah.
I don't think that just right off the bat that I'm going to start my first get out there on my first basketball game, first game back on the team,
Mm-hmm.
and not react to the things that the other players say.
Yeah.
But I will try to learn how to control it before I
Has there
start.
ever been a moment when you did control it?
On the team? When I was on the team?
Or the anger with any time? Has there ever been a time when you've been angry and you've noticed that you didn't respond with the aggressiveness that is typical to happen more often? Have you ever been able to control it before?
Just when I just kind of walk away.
So you have been able to do that. So you can.
Not often. It depends on how drastic the situation is before that makes me so mad. It depends on how bad it is, because how dependent on the situation is how I'm going to react.
Yeah.
And if it's not too bad, but I'm still mad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still mad, but it's okay. I know that I can deal with it, and I can just walk away. I will walk away, and that's something that I'm going to have to practice, even on the bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
That it don't seem like I can walk away from. I think that I can. I think I can.
So if reacting is such a strong impulse for you, do you think instead of because walking away, obviously sometimes you are able to do that, but like you said, depending on circumstances, you're not able to. So in the circumstances that you're not able to, do you think you could just react differently, such as talk to the person before you aggressively yell back or something like that? Do you think that you could just say, listen, I don't like this, or whatever the case may be? Do you think that's something that you could try?
A different reaction.
Yes, a different reaction.
Instead
Since
of
you have to
anger?
have a reaction.
Maybe like laughter.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe I can laugh at them
That's a
instead
great way to do it. Laugh at them, or if it's
I
something
do
you
laugh
need to
at
talk
my
out.
siblings.
Okay.
I laugh at them when they make me mad because I'm older and they're
Yeah.
just annoying, and they think they're.
So if the reacting is such a strong impulse for you, and you need to baby step your way to that, to the fully ignoring these things, then just react differently
Yeah.
or less aggressively.
I've never thought of it like that because, I mean, the other team, the opposing team, they act like my siblings. They act like they're kids. So I could see myself just laughing it off.
That's great. It seems like you have a lot of the solutions to your problems here. I'm basically just trying to help you, lead you in directions, but you really seem to have a good idea of how to handle things. You know what you want, you know have goals, you know what you're working toward, and you have steps and ways that you've been working on to try to get to them. So I commend you on that. I think you're doing great. So
I know I said that I didn't want to be here, but I'm really glad my parents made me come because I feel much better. I mean, I don't feel like I don't have a way out anymore. I feel like, I mean, I've actually come up with these solutions to these problems, and I know that there is a way for me to fix it.
Yeah.
And I feel much better.
You are in control of how things go in your life. So sometimes it just takes you sitting down and thinking, what do you want? How am I going to get there? And just go through the motions of how that can go. And if you have an issue pop up, just plan it out. How am I going to deal with this? How am I going to react to this? How can I fix this? How is this going to get me to my goal? And so for your homework assignment, that's what I want you to do this week. I want you to take the steps that we talked about, ignoring when you can. If you can't ignore, a different reaction, a more positive reaction. Getting back into the sports, that seems to be something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And working with your teacher a little better so that you can enjoy the math and science classes that you're passionate about and seem to really get a lot from and enjoy doing that. So let's try to work on those things, and that'll be your homework.
Okay.
Just try to have those different reactions to things, and I'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.